Hi guys, it's Amanda here, your cutie of Carnage.
And I'm Jess Koresh, aka Rico Soavi.
Here on Channel
Sundown.
Today we are reviewing 1987 Italian slasher film, Stage Fright. Ha! I was born in 1987, and this is one of the films that I like watching on my birthday and discussing. Stage Fright is actually streaming on Shudder. So if you guys get a chance, and check out Stage Fright and watch it so you'll know what we're talking about. Like I said, Stage Fright is an Italian slasher film. This is kind of like beginning of kind of the slasher craze, so this film is kind of different. The film is about this play that's going on, this cast of a play. So the musical is based on the slasher murders and what have you. And he starts off the film, one of the people working on the slasher play gets injured. And the person gets help at a mental institute. Well, at this mental institute, there's a person there who is under, I guess, treatment for being a serial killer. And anyways, he finds his way as a ride out of the institute. So, serial killer stuck in a playhouse with a bunch of actors and staff and crew. So, a killer with a crew. Jesse, what are your pros for Stage Fright?
Well, as you already mentioned, it's an Italian horror film, and I love Italian horror films.
Yes, he does.
So I love the whole feel, the whole vibe, and everything of the movie. My other huge pro is that it's a guy going around killing people with a giant owl head on.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite. Yeah, I'd rather him have it's different than, a hockey mask or, any other kind of mask. He really is going around killing people with a giant owl head on. So I don't know why, but I love that. I mean, I like owls. I'm kind of infatuated by them. I might have owl socks on right now that I think about it. But yeah, I love that it's a guy going around killing people with a giant owl head, and he's crazy, and he's killing some of these actors who deserve to die.
They deserve to die. That's so judgmental. Is that all your pros, Jesse?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm going to start with my first pro. My first pro for the film is actually I really kind of like, is that they kind of get rid of the whodunit form in a slasher film, which a lot of slasher films you watch and they all have the whodunit. What I like about this film is they kind of get rid of the whodunit part of the film because you know whodunit. So they kind of get rid of that whodunit thing, which I kind of respect that because then you kind of go into the film not trying to figure out, because everybody who watches slasher films, that's kind of, what they do when they watch a slasher film. They don't say who the killer is right away. Who done it? Which one of these kids are the killer? And this part, they don't have that, so you focus more on what's happening and what's going on versus who is behind the mask. Well, going into that, my next positive is going to be that atmosphere is really kind of awesome. It is really, actually, I don't really know how to say this, it is really pretty. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get it. We don't spoil things. If we spoil things, we say spoiler. But there's a scene, like, kind of towards the end, where kind of everything's set out and the person with the owl head is sitting there and things around it, and you see the atmosphere and stuff, and it's so good looking and it's so eerie. It's like Dario Argento made a Scream film, I kind of do. Visually appealing, I
There
guess.
You go.
Yeah,
that's what you're
appealing.
visually appealing. That's what you're going for.
And of course, my next positive is going to be the owl mask. I had the owl mask as one of my things because, I like when things are took that aren't originally scary and made, into something frightening. Because, if he would have been walking around with the owl mask going boo, of course, but the character itself of being a slasher killer, if he would have been wearing a dog mask, that would have been scary too. I mean, hell, Michael Myers is wearing, William Shatner mask, and nobody's scared. Well, I'm not scared of William Shatner, but anyways, so they took the prop of the owl mask and they kind of switched it around. The fact that it's not something not really scary per se, but they make it into something haunting. I can't even talk right, guys. Sorry.
You make up new words.
I know, right? Guys, I swear I'm going through speech therapy. My speech therapist says I'm sounding better until I videotape. And then my speech therapist is like, you were talking so wrong. But no, I am actually, I'm making words up, yeah.
Director, Dubai.
I did that. So although it has some cliche aspects, it really knows how to hold tension because, like, there's a few scenes where, you know, the character has to do something and you kind of feel, you're like, how is this really, you really are watching and you're like, how are they going to get out of this versus, you know, running up the stairs. And my last pro is going to be, it has every aspect, like I'm repeating myself, every aspect of a slasher film that you want, and it's gory. It is gory. It has scenes of blood, it has blood and everything, but everything's done in a way where you kind of are waiting for the next part. So they're very hot. I hate to sound like this when I say this, but they're beautiful death scenes. I guess they're like beautiful. They're well done death scenes. Like, it's not just like, you know, stab. There's a whole like scene of it, and it's played out. It's played out wonderfully. It's bloody. It's bloody. People get spread.
Who gets spread?
Yeah. All right, Jesse. It is your turn. Your cons.
I only have two cons for this movie. One is the way that the killer gets to the sound stage and the studio is kind of stupid. Because, first of all, this girl, it makes the girls look really stupid because she's got to she hurts her ankle or her foot or something. She's like, oh, I've got to take you to the hospital and get it. And so there's this whole thing about them sneaking out so they can go to the hospital. And then they take her to a mental hospital. And then they're like, she's like, oh, she needs to get her foot like that. It's like, it's a mental hospital. Like, oh, it's still a hospital. I'm stupid. And so anyway, they shouldn't be there in the first place. And then the guy, you know, sneaks out and latches a ride back onto them back to the studio. So anyway, that's kind of stupid because they don't need to be. I don't know. I feel like they could have figured out another way for him to get there. You know, other than these girls just being really stupid because it makes them look really stupid. And the other thing is, there's one girl in the movie and she screams so much. It's like somebody drops up. She's like, ah! Oh my God, shut up! You know what I'm talking about. She screams all the time, and everybody's like, we got to get into action. She's just in the corner going, ah! Ah! And anyway, I'm glad when she gets killed.
Spoiler alert, she gets killed.
Anyway, those are my two cons.
Okay, well, my cons, my first con is going to be, it was my positive, but it's also kind of like my negative too, is that, like, you know, because you know who the killer is, you know everything, you kind of, I don't really think it's so much as a con, because, like, when I first saw it, a while back, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, oh, well, that's good, I know who the killer is, and after watching it a couple times, I'm kind of like, when you watch it, you know who the killer is, so it kind of takes that whodunit aspect out of it, so it's a positive, but it's a negative. But the reason why it would be my negative is because we're so used to the whodunit aspect of a slasher film that I feel like a lot of people are used to that trope of slasher films kind of are like, oh, well, we know who the killer is, that kind of takes it away. Just a very, very small con. Very small con. My next con is actually going to be something kind of weird. I get, like, frustrated with this scene, so I don't know. It's not a spoiler, but there's a scene at the end. I'm not going to get into it. But there's a scene at the end, this guy who, the lead of the film, you know, they go through everything, and there's this guy who's like, right between the eyes. I said, right between the eyes. Get it between the eyes. He says it like 9 freaking times at the end. And so many times. You know what I'm saying? He goes, I told him, right between the eyes. I said, right between the eyes. And then it stops and she does something and he goes, and I said, right between the eyes. But I think there's a reason why I kept saying it over and over again. I think there's maybe a reason, but after, like, you know, I've seen this movie like a million times. I think after the next time, I'm like, okay, we get it. But yeah, that part is so annoying to me when he's like, right between the eyes. Spoiler alert, right between the eyes. My next con is actually going to be something that, like, I don't really think of as a con, but I think it's a con for the film. This film I don't feel like it's slasher film enough for most slasher fans. Like, I think a lot of people who, like, that are big slasher film fans, might see this film and be like, oh, well, it's not it's not Friday the 13th, it's not this, it's not that, so I don't like it. Because I feel like it's a slasher film, but I don't feel like it hits that category of a slasher film as I think others would not like it as much as, like, I do. Okay, now my last con is going to be something that I'm going to have to be vague about because it is a spoiler, but my other con is going to be, I'm not sure how this movie ends. I'm not really sure. But then again, I took it up like I took it, and I was just like, okay, well, that's the ending. Alright, cool. That's good. So, yeah. So, the ending is another con of mine that I'm kind of like, I'm not really sure how that... Is he? Or isn't he? I'm not sure. There you go. So, yeah. Well, anyways, that being said about my cons, Jesse, what is your verdict?
I love this movie! No, I think I told you that the first time I watched it. I really liked it. I've watched it several times since the first time I watched it many months ago, and I've enjoyed it every time. It's a fun movie. It's like you say, it's more of the Italian horror genre, which I really enjoy. Listen to slasher, but I like it. It's fun to watch. It's got a guy going around killing people with a giant owl head on.
I'll go ahead and give my verdict, guys. My verdict is I love this movie. I really do. Like, I know I had some cons about it, but I love this movie. I was going to do my countdown for my last birthday of my favorite films of 1987, and this was going to be one of my films. And I really enjoy this film. I love it because it's a slasher film, but it's not like, it's an Italian slasher film. So you kind of go into it, and it doesn't try to be anything else. It doesn't try to, like, be like, oh, well, you know, it's not going to be like some movies I've seen which was a zombie film and then aliens showed up at the end. Slasher film, that's what it is. It doesn't try to be anything else. It works on what it works with, and it does a fantastic job at it. It builds atmosphere, it builds the suspense. Like, you get what you get, and it's wonderful. It looks good, and the story is what it is, and I like this movie a lot. Okay, guys, well, that concludes our review of Stage Fright. You guys, it is streaming on Shudder, like I said, yet again, it's streaming on Shudder. If you guys get a chance, check it out. You will enjoy it. I promise. See, I'm throwing promises in there.
Yeah, you don't know. She can't promise you'll enjoy it.
I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it like I do, and like Jesse does. Do you guys enjoy it? Do you guys not? Have you guys seen it? Have you guys not seen it? Let us know. Comment below. Comment below. Be sure to like, if I can point out it right, like and subscribe. Like our videos and subscribe to our channel to see more of our videos. Yes, indeed. Until next time, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye.